Hi, Dennis. Thanks very much for joining me on the call. I know you're really busy, and I know you're obviously in Australia at the moment, and it's late there, so I really appreciate it. But what I want to do really is, I just like to let people out there get a feel for, I suppose, how you got to this point, how you have created this amazing smart business tool. Can you just give us a little background about yourself and how you got to this point, please?
Yeah, certainly. So I started in the multi-level marketing industry when I was probably about 26, I think. I like to say I failed forward. I think I was a perfect failure. Seeing the kind of incomes that NetLeaders are making, it really makes me feel like an even bigger failure. But I did manage to eventually top up my income at $22,800 a week for an 18-month run before the company went broke. Now remember, this is 25 years ago, so I got to get some credibility here, right?
Yeah, very good.
And then from there, I ended up starting a software company because I actually had to fix the software of the company that I made all the money with because it was really bad. Then from there, I built an auto prospecting system that was built by me in PHP and MySQL, quite poorly according to my developers who had to rebuild it eventually. But it worked, and it worked really, really well. So from there, I went, the MLM industry and the consulting and the MLM consulting and the MLM software side of things. I was sort of recognizing that it was a pretty small marketplace, as much as it's one that's dear to me, and I really, really love helping people in it. I started to think, how can I go and become that next sort of raise some money and become $1 billion company? Because I knew that wasn't going to happen in MLM software. So we basically built the prospecting system out for MLM, and then we rebranded it and started to look to raise money for it as a small business tool, thinking that we could raise money and turn into another one of those competitors to the Salesforce and the Confuciansofts and all those out there. And we got quite a ways down the road, and we got a couple of thousand users of it. And I wrote a book called The Small Business Bible that helps to explain how it was used successfully by a number of different industries like restaurants and hair salons and real estate agents. And I really just have this passion for helping networkers and small business. And they're more tied together than most people think. The reason I'm so passionate about both of them is half the time the networker is trying to build an income to get him out from underneath the bonds of his failing small business. So it was kind of like when I linked the two together, I went, okay, so here I have this tool that helps networkers, and now I have a tool that helps the small business. Maybe the person can successfully do both and save his small business and get into MLM and get more success. So I really thought I was onto something, and it turned out I was, because sure enough, a lot of my initial small business clients were actually networkers who were struggling with their cafes and their carpet stores and their whatever. So it ended up working out really well. And next thing you know, we had this smart business platform that, at first we thought we wanted to be Salesforce until we realized that the only reason it's called Salesforce is you have to force your salespeople to use it. And then we thought it was going to be called Salesperson Dream. And we realized that when you go to a restaurant and try to convince them that they sell stuff, they'll argue with you. I'm not a salesman. Oh, okay, so that was kind of bad. So then we came up with the idea of something to do with small business and then smart business. So it just happened to be a really good fit because we knew that the number one problem with getting adoption of a CRM type of a tool, and we're not CRM, like we really realized that being another Infusionsoft, which is sort of nicknamed Confusionsoft, and Salesforce, which got to force people to use. We thought, how do we make a tool that the small business owner and or salesperson and or networker actually wants to use? Like it actually saves them more time than it costs them. And that's sort of what the whole thing was. So it came more of a sales and marketing automation tool than a direct CRM that also had a bunch of CRM features. And next thing you know, it was kind of like SurveyMonkey and Infusionsoft and like 10 different tools all combined together into one cohesive thing that worked really, really well. And so we just continued to build on the excitement, and then NetLeaders came along with its concept of trying to get Dascoin to every sort of company on the planet, or not necessarily. That was in the roadmap, but it wasn't sort of brought to the front. And I saw that immediately as being the thing that would make Dascoin, really go crazy. If you could get every company out there taking it, because now the number one key to small business is, believe it or not, small businesses actually think that it's an inconvenience to ask their customers for their contact information. So like the average guy goes and spends money on Infusionsoft and then is scared to ask his customers for their information. All you need is a little tiny piece of paper with a thing and give out golf pencils with your name on them, let them steal them, whatever, right? And you collect that data. Oh yeah, but my staff won't want to enter it. Okay, so you want to go broke, or do you want to have a pissed off staff member? No big deal, right?
I can absolutely connect with that in a big way, because you know I have a tile business in Ireland, and one of the hardest things to do was get the staff to get the basic name, number, you know, email, and it's like they feel like they're encroaching on them in some way to ask for this information. Yet this person may have bought in the shop or has got a code or whatever. But how else can we follow up, you know? So it's incredible sometimes, the mindset.
Well, yeah, and so then it goes a step further, and it's like, okay, well, you collect this information if you can get it. That's one thing. But the other thing we found was, as we went out there and said, look, for $100 a month, we'll fix your small business. We'll show you how to do it. You're going to make more money in your small business. They're like, well, I don't have $100 a month. And then they're spending $6,000 on a newspaper ad. You know, it's like, well, wait a second. So this is where my big aha moment came, where Dascoin wants to get to be utilized a lot, because of course we all know what can happen if your coin's really in demand and really being used a lot. And of course small businesses need a way to collect data. So I thought, hang on, Das Wallet makes a transaction with a smart business client and gets a little thing saying, do you want to share your customer data with them for getting onto their newsletter for discounts and rewards and excellent, wonderful things? And they go, yes. And we just removed the number one biggest problem with CRM tools, and that's collecting the data, because the customer willingly gave it and it was frictionless. And so I just thought, oh my gosh, I think we closed the loop. And then we had NetLeaders with all their tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people around the world that are interested in making money, probably small business owners, probably no small business owners. And I went, wow. And all of them want the coin to go crazy. So wow, we just sort of went, all these things fit together in a way that most people aren't seeing, taking everything you already get at NetLeaders, which is already exciting. You don't have to change a thing, but there's this whole extra layer now that'll help to power a bunch of the promises some certain people have made about cycles and all these wonderful things. So yeah, I lose sleep over it. I blame you guys. But I may look tired because I am.
Yeah, well, look, you know, I suppose, you know, from networking, we're always trying to push and get the latest thing out there to the public. But what I would say is Michael did a good sort of, he gave an idea of the power of what this is going to bring to the overall. And I think that bit was missing, and something we have to delve more into with Michael. But it's how this smart business can bring the businesses to us, which connects us in with their payment systems when we have DasPay fully launched. And then how we can bring all that into DasNet and what that can bring. So it's the picture is starting to expand out now. Michael gave a good idea of it. You're just really after hammering that home, and the power of what this can bring to the network and connect to all the pieces.
And remember too, it does one more thing that you know, some people identify with and some people don't. Like when I was in Barcelona, I had so many people come up to me and go, well, wait a second. I could go and resell all my software keys and make a profit, and all the cycles and everything I still get to keep. So like, really? And to me, that was like, yeah, that's the point, right?
Yeah. But to see, look, we were, when we bought a license to date, it was cycles can convert to Dascoin, and that was pretty much the whole story. Obviously, now bringing CRM into it, you've got not just that initial sale, which is brilliant, and it can more than pay for your outlay and your license, but now it's also can lead to residual incomes and just connecting the overall. It's just a bunch more
revenue streams, right?
Yeah.
A bunch more revenue streams that'll push more into the binary, that'll, you know, it's all meant to be consumable stuff. eventually people run out of licenses, and some of their small businesses that they sold licenses to will buy again. And when that happens, that'll push more points into the binary. So it's all just about getting the binary going faster and faster and faster. We want all the components to just push more into the binary. I mean, we get it, right? We're not just doing this because it looks cool. This will ultimately start to spin the binary faster. This will make some of your smaller people that come in and they're a bit timid suddenly have something to sell. So you're not trying so hard to convince them of the dream of the cycles and the DAS coin, which is great if a guy loves crypto. But if a guy doesn't really understand crypto, I mean, I'm guessing that NetLeaders have been at a bit of a dead end. When a guy says, like, I don't understand crypto, I don't care about crypto, boom, conversation over. Where now it's like, well, hang on a second. Do you know anyone that has a small business? And the cycles become a bonus, right? The DAS coin becomes
absolutely.
a bonus.
And as well as that, it gives, like, following on from you just said, you could be in a small business, you could be getting your hair cut, and you can go, well, do you have a CRM? You're not opening up with cryptocurrency. You're opening up with talking about their business, which people like to talk about.
Helping them.
And then you roll into the crypto later if needs be, so.
Right. Hey, look, we can help your small business. We can help you grow your customer base. Think of it as advertising. Oh, and by the way, there's this other thing that's pretty cool. That the upside could be fantastic.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So the people that want to sell it the way they've been selling it, that still works. Nothing's changed. This is just a bunch of extra cool stuff that should enable a lot of the smaller people to see a way to make their money back, to see a reason to get involved, to see a consumable product. And the bigger guys are going to have even more. But it just, I think it rounds things out a whole bunch. It gives you another thing to talk about. And to me, if I was an advocate with NetLeaders, I'd be super excited about. There's more to sell. There's more to talk about. I can go and think about this. Like, this is probably what gets me the most about it. A lot of people get really tired in MLM of selling potions and lotions and whatever, because we're business people and we're sort of forced to doing stuff that's not business-y. Like, I get it, you sell green algae, but I don't want to hear about your poop being green. Like, it's just not interesting to me. I don't feel like a business person. I don't care if I'm making $100,000 a month. I don't feel like a business person pushing green poop juice. Like, it's just not good for me. So the fact here that you can go deal with small businesses, you can actually be a business person and talk to your peer group about something that makes a lot of sense. And then crypto is also something that makes sense. And holy crap, look at that. They all fit together. Whoa. I personally, I'd be pretty excited, but I'm pretty excitable.
Really? But no, that was great, because look, I just wanted people just get a general overview. Michael touched on it. You've hammered it home there. This CRM for me is actually what's going to combine all the other elements and really drive them all forward. So look, I really appreciate you taking the time to do that.
Think of this parting thought. Okay, the parting thought is, let's say you don't care at all about the CRM tool, but you do care about DAS coin. Get your CRMs into the hands of small businesses so they can accept DAS coin, because it's in your best interest.
100%, and you've got it in one. So look, Dennis, with that, really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're immensely busy, but it's much appreciated, and I think it'll be very useful. So with that, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.